Welcome back to the LackLuster channel. Remember this guy? Well, as it turns out, he's been fired. And if you don't recall the situation, use the link above to check out the original video. But for a brief recap, in March of 2022, Josh Hall was leaving his home when Officer Malta of the Wright City Police Department noticed unregistered vehicles in his driveway. After a peaceful but unpleasant interaction, Josh left the scene, flipping Officer Malta off as he left. Officer Malta's hurt feelings caused him to lie over the radio, telling other officers in the area that Josh had threatened Malta.
48, can you copy a VIN? Okay. I'll take my time. Try and get a stop on that GMC Suburban. It just left. It's on Samwise now.
That's clear.
He wasn't a fan of me being here.
Is it his residence?
I believe so. He wanted to flip me off and threaten me to get off the property.
As a result, Josh was pulled over by Detective Beard.
Good, can I help you?
Got your driver's license?
What'd you pull me over for?
For your threats that you made to one of our officers.
That's not a threat. What threat? What threat did I make to an officer? Flipping an officer off is not a crime. It's a constitutionally protected activity. What threat?
I'm gonna break your window.
What threat did I make to him?
Josh was arrested at the end of that interaction and was charged with disorderly conduct, failure to comply, and resisting arrest. 1 week after the incident, Josh met with Lieutenant Matthews, who claims that the arrest was valid, but that the laws were unconstitutional and therefore he was going to be a nice guy and dismissed the charges.
What we have here is a Sydney ordinance that has been on the books for some time that shows that the officers were acting in good faith in accordance with the city ordinance at the time.
Wanted to flip me off and threaten me to get off the property.
I believe this is in conflict with the First Amendment. Okay, that is protected speech. All subsequent actions following the traffic stop, regardless if you are guilty of them or not, are not going to be enforced, because I do not believe that they had a constitutional right to stop you in the first place.
I've seen people get pounds of marijuana thrown out of court for unconstitutional stops.
So again, I understand that you're an argumentative individual. I am not.
I'm not an argumentative individual. I'm a very polite person. I have 7 kids.
So the reason why I wanted to reach out to you is that your point here of your ability to make obscene gestures toward police or protect under the First Amendment, as the police department, we agree with you. Hopefully now we can put this whole issue behind us. Again, I have no reason to suggest the officers didn't act in good faith because that ordinance was on the books.
Wanted to flip me off and threaten me to get off the property.
That ordinance is going to be amended. In the event they did have a lawful contact with you, the subsequent actions of failing to comply, I would have allowed to stay.
Yeah, I know. Okay. I know. If you had a reason to pull me over, I know. I have ID and stuff. I know my rights.
Sure. So what I will say is,
I also know my 1st, my 4th, my 8th was violated. I know my rights were violated.
Okay. So what is it that you would like to have happen moving forward?
I don't really know yet. Like, I haven't really crossed that bridge. My focus was getting these charges dismissed.
Okay.
What I asked, what started it was his demeanor. Like, I have it on video. He came up, like, I can show you the video one day. I was like, hey, how's it going? And we had an exchange, and he asked me about it. I explained the cars. I don't remember how he said it, but it just kind of struck me wrong. I started backing up. He's like, I want to fine you. And I rolled down my window. I was like, get off my property as soon as possible. And he was like, what'd he say?
I'll take my time.
I'll take my time. So I flipped him off, drove off. Next thing I know, I'm getting pulled over.
Wanted to flip me off and threaten me to get off the property.
It's not us versus you. It's us serving you.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
That's what it's supposed to be, but then the dude called my lawyer, my landlord.
A few months after the incident, Detective Beard was fired from the Wright City Police Department. But it's not for what you might think. The fired officer is now suing the government along with the police chief and Timothy Matthews for alleged harassment and wrongful termination. The lawsuit alleges that Detective Beard was the subject of unprofessional and disparaging remarks by the chief, and that a review of Beard's professional performance was full of misleading and outright false statements, and that his firing violated state laws protecting public employees. It all starts with an incident from 2019, when after learning of a threat to the police, Detective Beard reportedly advocated for the use of sturdier protective vests. And according to the lawsuit, Chief Canavan, who was a lieutenant at the time, allegedly responded by writing Beard's name on a .30 caliber bullet and presented it to him, stating, "That'll go through the vest." 3 years later, Lieutenant Canavan was promoted to chief and needed to hire a new lieutenant. Beard and another internal officer applied, but Timothy Matthews, a former Wright City officer who had left for a different department, was hired instead. The lawsuit then alleges that Chief Canavan and one or more unidentified officers would text back and forth about Beard being fat and how he's going to get fired. Then, in September, just 11 days after I released my first video about this incident, Detective Beard obtained a copy of his performance memo. The lawsuit claims that he then took the documents to discuss the internal conflict with Wright City's aldermen, mayor, and administrators, but they did nothing to protect him from Chief Canavan and Lieutenant Matthews. But on September 30th, the mayor and aldermen ordered that the police department conduct an internal investigation of the incident I covered, after Lieutenant Matthews allegedly issued a report stating that Beard was the only officer who violated department policy during the incident, according to the lawsuit. 1 month later, the chief and Lieutenant Matthews delivered a termination letter to Beard and took possession of his department-issued vehicle. Beard then filed a wrongful termination lawsuit alleging retaliation for disclosing misconduct and intentional infliction of emotional distress. And shortly after Detective Beard filed his lawsuit against the city, Josh Hall also filed a lawsuit against the city, Detective Beard, Colin Haney, and Officer Malta for unreasonable seizure, abuse of process, free speech, assault, battery, malicious prosecution, and a Monell claim against the city for negligent hiring, failure to supervise, and for a custom of conducting unreasonable seizures and use of excessive force. The defendants have yet to respond to the lawsuit, but when they do, whether they settle or they want to push this thing to trial, I'll stay on top of it and be sure to let you know about everything, including Detective Beard's wrongful termination lawsuit. The outcome for the internal investigation is also unknown, but if I ever get my hands on that, I'll be sure to let you see it. Let me know what you guys think down below, and until next time, thanks for watching. If you have a video, use the submit link in the description or pinned comment. If you enjoyed this one, subscribe and hit the bell for future content, and check out our other channels, Lady LackLuster and The Odd Side. Remember to like, share, and leave a comment about what you think of this interaction. It's the easiest way for you to help expose corruption and misconduct. Merchandise is available using the links below. Join the LackLuster family for just $1 if you'd like to further support the channel. Get a Lack logo next to your name, custom emotes, and early access to videos. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. All links are down below.